In my video 2 days ago that covered the emergency toolkit that I can store in the car's hitch receiver, you may have noticed that I didn't give more info on opening the hood. Well, today's video is a lot more in depth on that point. I will cover that as well as installing a 12-volt battery charger and give a brief look at the components under the hood. Let's get started. Before we get started, I want to let you know why I need to do this. There have been owners reporting dead or nearly worn out 12-volt batteries in newly delivered Fisker Oceans. One theory I have is that the 3 to 4 week travel from Austria to North America has stressed the 12-volt batteries, along with them sitting at port and at the facilities. The cars commonly were left unlocked and thus on for long periods of time. Another issue that is known and being addressed by Fisker is that the high voltage battery pack should be charging the 12 volt when necessary, and that is not happening. A software update is coming that will address this issue. Until then, the car may have issues with the 12 volt battery. One such notification is this one that says battery level low, please charge battery now. The high voltage battery pack is 50% here, so that's not the issue. Another thing you may notice is a bunch of warning lights for ancillary systems that may be giving errors, for example, lane departure warning or blind spot monitoring. Now that you know the background, let's move on to how to temporarily fix this issue. Here we have the front of the Fisker Ocean, and we need to remove this panel that goes along the front. And we do that using plastic pry bars. I got a small one and a large one, and we'll see how they work. What you want to do is you want to start at one corner and start unsnapping the clips until the whole thing comes out. So, very first time trying this, so let's see how we do. Okay, I got a couple of the lid clips undone, and I'm just going to slowly do that across the whole thing. Make sure you hold on to it so it doesn't fall off onto the ground, because this is painted. And there we go. So you can see there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 clips that are holding it into place. I'm going to set that aside so it doesn't get scratched up. The next thing we need to use is a 13mm nut driver. You can either use it in ratchet form or like I did with the screwdriver. The important thing about this, besides being 13mm, is to have one with a magnetic end so that the bolt or screw will stick to this and not fall off, because you don't want it to fall inside the car. You will not be able to get it out. So let's try it out. All right, we're on the left side of the car. You can see the bolt all the way in there. So I am gonna insert the nut driver, and it easily comes out. Unscrew. And see, the bolt is attached, so we don't want to lose this. And now for the right side of the car. The bolt is very easy to get out. There is a specified torque for it, and I'll talk about that later when I reinstall it. There we go. Now that we have the two bolts removed, the hood is loose and you can pick up the edge and lift it up. Got to be very careful because there's no support struts or even a support bar to hold it up, but there is one little mechanism on the left side here that will latch into place. That will lock and hold this up. So just be very careful. There's only that little latch right here holding this up. I have a 4 amp selectable battery charger and maintainer. This unit has clips that you can attach to the battery terminals, and we will charge up the battery. If you ever see a low battery warning for your 12 volt, this is what you're going to need, some type of device like this. Anywhere from 1 amp to 10 amps are available. I chose a middle of the road one, so I will be testing this one out. So let's get started. Inside the box we have 2 components. The charger itself with a regular NEMA 515 connector, and then a long lead that goes to the terminals. And this is the lead along with the clips that attach to the battery positive and negative terminals. This gets attached to the charger itself. One idea is to have this long enough that if you place it outside the car on the hood opening, you can have your car charged and not have to keep opening the hood up. So that's one thing I'm going to look at doing. So let's get this going here. Another thing we're going to need is a 10 millimeter nut driver. I have one on an extended extension, so I can reach the terminals easier. First thing we have to do is remove this cover because we're going to be attaching the positive terminal first. And right here we can see that there is a screw on it, so let me take this cover off. I am going to loosen this up a little. All right, so both of these clips I'm going to remove so that I can just get to the plug underneath. So I'm going to use an Allen wrench and loosen up these screws and then remove the clips. All right, it is loose. Do not lose that screw. You're going to need that if you ever want to put this back on. Due to where the negative terminal is located, I'm just going to use these clips to attach to it because it is underneath this bar right here. All right, so I need to get this nut off the end here, and I'm going to use this plastic pry bar to prop up the screw that's underneath holding it in. It's already loose, so I'm just going to hand loosen it, remove it here. It's a little tight. I may need my screwdriver. All right, let's get that guy off. All right, he is loose and I don't want to lose him. Now I can connect the red positive lead right here. And I got to find a good place to keep this attached. So it's going to go kind of like that. Maybe like this. Okay, I'm going to thread the screw back on. Now I need my nut driver and do that until it is nice and tight. There we go. So next thing we're going to do is route the wiring around here so that we can put this cover back on. I'm going to have to route this thing. Time for a little ingenuity. Route all of this through here. Aha! I think I figured this out. All right. All right, so we got the cap on. Now we need to route this. This is going to go to the outside of the car. And then this is now going to go to the negative terminal. I know it's kind of hard to see, but under here is the negative terminal. I'm just going to open up the clip and attach it. Make sure it has a good connection. So now we got the leads are attached. And I'm going to try to route this to the outside of the car. Now, it seems a little on the short side, so what I'm going to have to do is I thought ahead and I got an extension. So I got a 6-foot extension. Don't need all 6 feet. 3 feet would have been even better, but they didn't have any of those available. You're going to want to keep the side that has the cap on it to the outside of the car because it's insulated and waterproof. So this is what we're going to route to the outside of the car. And we're going to route that this way. So I'm going to move the camera so you can see better. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a quick fitment and seeing where I can route this thing. So if I put it under here and look at this, there's plenty of room through the gasket that I can attach the charging cable. So this can go pretty much right in this area here. I probably want to make it short enough so it doesn't dangle around. Let's see what I can do with that. How about here? That seems to be a good length. It's out of the way of the wipers. It's not touching anything. I'm going to use some zip ties to hold it down so nothing moves. And then I'm going to connect it to the harness that's connected to the terminals. For one of my previous projects, I got these zip ties that are, I would say, very unique. They allow you to zip them and they have a little button on here and you can release them. So they're basically reusable zip ties, which I think is an awesome idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these to the wire length along here so that nothing is dangling and getting to be a nuisance. So let me get that started. At this point, I'm going to connect the extension with the base. Let's do that. You just pop off the cap and they are easily inserted into each other. They are negative to negative, positive to positive. Only goes one way, so you can't screw it up. All right, push it all together so it's solid fit. Now I'm going to take this extra amount of cord right around this area here and tie this down. Let's see, where do I want to tie this? Maybe right here so that it is not in the way of anything. Yeah, let me do that. Get the zip tie, push it through, cinch, and now we got our cables all in a good position. I'm actually going to move this a little bit off of here to this side so nothing gets pushed on. That looks pretty good. All right, to recap, I attached a lead to the positive terminal, red to red, and then another one, the black, to the negative terminal. Then I ran the lead all the way up here and then out the front through the gasket, and then it is visible right there so that we can attach the external charger and not have to open the hood again. Then when the software fix that comes that eliminates this issue of the 12 volt not getting charged by the high voltage battery pack, we can remove this and nothing will be impacted. It's just a temporary installation. So I'm going to clean up, close the hood, and put everything back into place. Before I forget, if your top of the battery cover here, this piece of plastic, is not staying on very tight, I only have one of the hooks in and this side is not hooking in because of the lead that's underneath it. I'm going to use 2 of the reversible zip ties and attach it around here so that this doesn't fall off. All right, there we go. So we got this on, much more secure. It's not going to fall off. All right, we have the power lead sticking out right here, and we have the charger, and we have covers on both of these. We'll take them off, and they will be matching. They're going to be positive, positive, negative to negative. It's built into the shape, so you can't screw it up. Then I'm going to plug this in and we'll set this up. All right, so AGM is what this battery pack, 12 volt battery is, and it's selecting this correctly, and it is charging, so it's all automatic. So I'll let it do its thing. I'm also going to be doing a battery monitor. It's currently installed on my Tesla Model 3. I'll be removing it and putting it on this vehicle. I think I may be able to find a way to attach it to this lead, and then I don't need to open up the hood for that either. So that's another project for another day. So I'll let this charge up, and it may take several hours. But this may be necessary until the software fix comes out that allows the high voltage battery to regularly charge the 12 volt and keep it above 12 volts. That's the key. When it gets to 12 or below, there's going to be problems. It should be in the 13 to 14 range. That'll be about a normal amount. So I am going to track that and see what I get. Before I forget, the manual says that this 4 amp unit will charge a 15 amp hour battery in about 3 hours to recharge to 80% capacity. So that gives me a rough idea of how long it may take this to charge up. So I'm guessing somewhere between 2 and 3 hours, which isn't too bad. And after about 3 hours, it's done. All right, I disconnected the 2 cords, and this one I'll just tuck underneath. So let's get a closer look at the under hood area. So a quick tour under the hood. This big dark plastic piece is the radiator. Behind this we have the drivetrain. This is the front motor. We have an inverter, and all of the high voltage cabling is in orange. So that's something to be careful for. You don't want to touch any of that. You can see brake fluid right here. And then these 3 reservoirs are for coolant. So most likely the battery pack, I'm probably guessing the front and rear motors, and possibly some other components of the drivetrain that need to be cooled. Kind of surprising to see that many. A lot of cars now, like Tesla, have got it down to just 1 coolant tank. But different manufacturers have different methods, and this is just another example. There's a number of other components under here that I am not familiar with. If Monroe and Associates were here, they would give you an excellent tour. Next stop is the battery, the 12-volt battery, which is right here. This is a 12-volt battery, so you can access it. There's a cover over this. This is the accessible positive terminal, and there's another positive terminal underneath this cover. And then further back is the negative terminal. Before I go, I want to give you a close-up look of the components in here. I'm gonna take my camera through the different areas so you can see in detail. At this point, I can take the hood down and put everything back into place. Be very careful of the hinge area. You gotta push up on it and then press in, and then it releases. Slowly bring it down. Don't want to slam it. And place it like that. Next we put in the 13mm bolts. I am just hand tightening them. They should be fine, snug. Now we can take the hood piece, and it goes with the divot facing up to match the light element. And you're just going to match it up so that it goes into the clip openings. And I'm just going to be doing it all the way across. Snaps in. And it should be flush with the existing surrounding metal and hood area and light element. So fairly easy. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it interesting and useful. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.